80 meters large. So these on each pyramid. But other shafts are located around all around the Giza Plateau. And they are scattered in three main areas where Trevor Grassi helped me to find them. But those shafts are different because they have a squared base, not round, and they are a bit narrower with respect to the one that are located below the base of each pyramid. Yes, of course, these squared shafts, they go below, underneath, and approximately around 600 meters. But as I showed you in the conference, they reach chambers that are located on, let's call it ground zero underneath, and though we are investigating those chambers.
And follow-ups will be welcomed. Next, Mr. Jay Anderson.
Yep, Jay Anderson from Project Unity. I wanted to ask you, how do you respond to critics who claim SAR cannot penetrate more than a few meters into dry, rocky terrain like the Giza Plateau? What have they misunderstood about your data acquisition and signal modeling formation?
Yes, thank you very much for these questions. It is correct. We accept criticism because, you know, who works studying, who works on synthetic aperture radar do not know a lot about the details on how the image formation is performed. So it is accepted, are accepted those kind of criticism. We are not using directly electromagnetic waves in order to scan underneath. It is obvious because the interaction of electromagnetic waves is only superficial. And sure, we know everything about this. According to the particular image formation that uses the Doppler synthesis, the Doppler synthesis of a virtual antenna aperture that is typically of SAR is used only on synthetic aperture radar. We understood that this kind of synthesis is made by sound. So it recasts inside the so-called Doppler bandwidth. So according to particular phenomena that happens when the target that we are observing on the Earth moves, we are able to perform the so-called Doppler centroid anomalies in order to retrieve the acoustic information that is always present, like evanescent waves present on the surface of the Earth. And so we are processing that kind of information. So we are just grabbing the superficial information acoustic that is that contains all the information that comes underneath.
Next question. Gentleman, the green hat.
Shasta Cookie. I'm interested in how you construct the inverse function to go from the evanescent waves on the surface to the propagation of the resonant chambers that are
Yes.
there.
Thank you for this question. Absolutely, evanescent waves contains all the information that comes underneath. You know, there is a criteria that puts together the acoustic information with the electromagnetic information. Between acoustic and electromagnetic, there is a Fourier transform. So, according to a particular algorithm that we have developed that uses pixel tracking in order to retrieve the vibrations that are present on the surface of the Earth, we were able to retrieve a model that we call the tomographic inversion in order to perform a Fourier transform based. We were able to collect the energy that scattered the energy that was arriving underneath the Earth. So the tomographic model is able to reconstruct a vertical curtain where on the horizontal axis we have the space, the tomographic line, and on the vertical axis we have the depth.
No, so have a second mic. We'll be okay. Next question. Who would like? Nikki, I believe.
I was wondering if you were gonna ever intend on, well, I kind of think this could potentially be a security threat for you, so I was wondering if you were gonna share this methodology with other people, like how other people can do this with, you know.
Capisci che c'è un rischio di sicurezza, no? Però vuole sapere se a qualche punto volete insegnare tutto, volete insegnare un po' sul lavoro.
Yes, absolutely yes. We are currently we have installed a formal collaboration with Stanford University in the person of Professor Howard Zepker that is began working in replicating the experiments. But we always shared our details of our info of the technique on my papers. I suggest to read my papers that we have published on IEEE and other papers that are published on remote sensing. There is written details of the technique that we have used, and so that there is written everything. Thank you.
X-ray from Neurotic.
So,
Hey, what you said?
so when you do your data, I know you do planes like this transversely or coronal or sagittally. Are you able to do data sets where it's cut like this?
Absolutely, yes.
And then on top of that, with known structures, I know you can see their squares, but with unknown structures like under the Khafre pyramids, how many planes do you actually scan to know it's more spherical versus like a square?
Yes, we have performed a lot of work. We are studying the Khafre pyramid for now, I think, 2 years. We have produced more than 200 tomograms, and we are still working. We are planning to conclude this research project in June 2026. Probably we will do a final conference in Verona that we will let you know the exact date when will be held. But yes, we are using the scientific approach always. So diversity in terms of tomographic lines, diversity in terms of different pictures, different SAR images, and diversity also in different satellite systems. So currently we are working on 3 satellite systems that are Capella Space, Umbra Space, and something also given by Cosmos 9 in the second generation.
Thank you.
Think about there, Mr. Shatsky.
So your discoveries consist primarily of two elements. You're looking at shafts and chambers at the bottom of the shafts. And the shafts are, you say, 2 kilometers, like 6,500 feet?
Okay.
That's not my question. My question is, regardless of what the depth is there any prospect of doing any kind of excavation or drilling to see if we can find physical evidence of what you've discovered with software technology?
Yes. We found, I confirm that we found the main structures that we found are pillars and underneath chambers. Absolutely, yes, we confirm this. The depth can be belonging between 1 kilometer and 1.5 kilometers underneath. And absolutely, yes. At the presentation, I showed also different shafts that are visible, the entrance from the surface of Giza. In my personal opinion, we can or access inside the spirals passing from the inside of the pyramids in a way that we will know only if we go there and explore better the entrance of these pillars. Secondly, we can entrance, as I told you in the conference, we can entrance inside the underneath complex structures by passing through the vertical shafts that are accessible, visible at the surface of Giza. They are only tapped by soil, so it is necessary to maintain clean those shafts, and so go and you have an entrance that can be directly accessed from there.
Chi lascerà fare poi.
I don't know. If we will try, absolutely. We were speaking with Trevor just now. We will try to submit particular projects to the Egyptian authorities in order to try and in order to ask particular authorization to make some work on digital baton. Absolutely, yes.
Armando, could the dynastic Egyptians have done this?
Well, I was quite sure that the pyramids, because of their architectural engineering features, were not built during the dynastic age. But after, because of lots of reasons that I tried to explain also during the conference, I refer, for example, to the block of granite that are in the king's chambers, that form the king's chambers and the jet upon, but also because to extract such blocks of granite from the cave of Aswan, 900 kilometers south of Giza, is very hard for the Egyptians of the time, and also to transport the blocks and many other things. But now, observing the megastructures that are underneath the Giza Plateau, I'm quite sure, or better, I'm sure that the dynastic Egyptians didn't build the pyramids and also the megastructures that are beneath the pyramids. Moreover, I would like to underline that for sure the dynastic Egyptian didn't build the pyramids. But in my opinion, were the ancestors of the Egyptians that built the megastructures beneath the pyramids and the pyramids as well. It means that, in my opinion, the Egyptian people must be proud of their ancestors that were the seed of the modern civilizations. So I think that this concept must be underlined.
Question. Yeah, Dave.
I'd like to ask about the paper you mentioned that will be published in a couple of months. You mentioned the paper and the conference that it's going to be published. What's the content? Do you know where it's going to be published? How long will it take for the peer review? Do you think it will change the approach of mainstream media to your work, which is being skeptical, I would say?
Yes, thank you for this question. Yes, the paper is ready. We will submit this paper peer review on the Remote Sensing Journal, maybe in 2 weeks. The answer on your question is, I don't know. Let's see what happens. The peer review process will take some time. It depends on the reviewers that will be nominated for reviewing this paper. So we have to see. I don't know.
Gentleman right there.
I think you said that there's topsoil covering some of the shaft entrances. Was that right? You said it was just topsoil over some of the.
Sand. C'è terra su, sì.
I was just saying sand, not topsoil.
If you can answer some questions.
Yes, the shafts that we analyzed, the entrance is visible from the top, so you can also look inside the shafts and you see that they are at a certain depth. They are blocked by mud, by soil. So it is necessary to discharge this block, so clean the tube and go down and see what happens.
How thick do you think that topsoil is?
Trevor, 10 meters approximately.
I think it's different for each shaft, really.
In average depth, I don't know.
Most of those ones right behind the Sphinx are. Yeah, most of the ones behind the Sphinx, like the Campbell's tomb is the one right behind it, the big one. And then there's a bunch more along the north side of the Sphinx Causeway, which all of those I know go approximately 100 to 125 feet down, about the same as the Osiris shaft. And then we know from, like you mentioned, Hakim Al-Yan as well in your presentation, he was talking about when he was a child walking through all these tunnels. Those were the ones he was talking about around 100 feet down from the surface at that point. But some of them are filled with sand to different levels, and a lot of them are just gated with metal gates on the top. They even have ladders going down, so you can tell some people have gotten in there. But yeah, and the Campbell's tomb was pretty well excavated as well. And there are some detailed drawings of some of the stuff on the bottom, but I think what you showed in your scans were actually deeper than where they had gone before. So.
Trevor, introduce yourself and maybe tell just a little bit about your story and your role, because you should really be up here and you're welcome to come up if you want.
Sure. All right. Why not? Take this mic from the back. Or next says. Okay.
Human mold. Actually, see, I couldn't get that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Trevor Grassi. I'm honored to be a part of what's going on here. I'm not officially part of the Khafre project, but I've been working with my friends William Brown and Richard Gabriel in Egypt for a while, and we've been working with GPR scans and on-site explorations, doing some kind of road work, if you would call it that, kind of seeing what we can learn from the local people in the village off the east side of the plateau, and learning a lot about it from that. But we do have these GPR scans from 2006 that Bill Brown carried out with the NRIAG, the National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics. And those were taken at 9 different locations on the plateau, and a lot of them actually confirm what we believe to be the entrances into the discoveries that Armando Filippo and Prado have brought forward. So last year I reached out to them And I said, I think we found a bunch of the entrances into the chambers you guys have found, and we ended up becoming friends last year and just started to collaborate on it. So this is the first time we're all getting to meet actually in person, but we've got a couple of interviews together where we explain some of the correlations between the two projects.
Gentleman in the checkered shirt.
I was just wondering how you're dealing with signal attenuation going through all the compact soil and what frequency bands you've been using.
Yes. The attenuation is present as I showed you on the presentation. It is normal because the deeper you are and the signal is weaker because of the propagation. You have the acoustic path loss propagation, it is important. Yes, the bandwidth. The acoustic bandwidth recast belongs 0 Hertz to, let's say, 11 kilohertz. But it depends on the particular satellite that you use, because, let's say, Capella Space has a different Doppler bandwidth with respect to Ambra Space or Cosmos Scan. It depends, but you have an average of a Doppler bandwidth belonging between 0 to 10 kilohertz. Why 10 kilohertz? Because normally a spotlight data has 22 or 25 kilohertz of bandwidth, but we are using half bandwidth in order to scan inside the synthesis, the orbit, the orbit of the image. Then the electromagnetic part, they are all set because of E2 regulation, International Telecommunication Union, so the frequency elevation are all set into 10 gigahertz. And there it's 10 gigahertz and 250 megahertz of bandwidth, approximately.
If there were more even further down below, do you feel you would have found it? Or I guess, do you think your technique would have found anything as deep as it would go? Or did you hit a limit of measurement? And could there be more even further down?
Thank you for this question. The limit is given by the orbits. So you have a limit, you can go below as you want, because the limit is given by the time used from the satellite to perform the image synthesis. The satellite flies into the space at 7 kilometers per second in velocity. It spends, let's say, from 10 to 15 seconds to perform a spotlight acquisition. According to the vibrational extrapolation, we need some time, seconds, let's say 5, 6, 7 seconds, in order to listen the acoustic information of the element. So that time determines the depthness that you are observing. You cannot go more than a certain limit, okay? And this limit can be approximately between 4 or 5 kilometers. More than that, you can't go at the moment.
From the Daily Bell.
Yeah, I've heard some people say with your idea that everything was built out 36,000 years ago.
A little higher.
A little higher, a little young there. With everything, your leading theory is that it was built 36,000 years ago. And a lot of researchers think that.
Can you repeat what you're saying? A little bit more clearly.
Oh, okay. I know, Armando, your theory is that it was built 36,000 years ago, correct? The structures? Now, I have heard from some researchers that it's completely impossible because, humans were living in caves and things like that. Can you provide an argument why you believe and why you are sure that the structures were built 36,000 years ago?
Possibile perché 36.000 anni fa stavano sedendo in caverne.
Yes, the same critics received Robert Boyle when he published the Iranian Conversion theory. Because of what we know from anthropologists on the evolution of humankind. Nevertheless, we have also to underline that many researchers and part of the academics believe that the evolution of humankind follows different patterns. For example, Michael Cremo of the LA University many years ago published an interesting book, Forbidden Anthropology, Archaeology, archaeology. And he made an interesting study on the evolution of sapiens, stating that the origins of the sapiens maybe belong to 100,000 years ago, because there were found traces of these species around the world. So we know we must improve the research on in anthropology, and I believe that we can't put limits in the study of the ancient history of humankind. And we must apply different models of investigation based on multidisciplinary models, because this is the only way to move forward in this kind of study and shed light on the mysteries of the ancient past. So I believe that the limits that academics put in this kind of research give us an incorrect story of what happened in the past of humankind. That is my opinion.
Feel free to follow up if you like.
Really quick, now, I just want to make sure, because I thought the structures are like 36,000 or they're 70,000.
In my opinion, the pyramids were built during the Septepi, age of the gods. And according to the ancient text, this period could be dated around 38,000 years ago. So the pyramids were built in 36,400 before Christ, in my opinion, but just because I studied the Giza Plateau as a whole. So I don't consider just only the pyramids and the Sphinx, but other monuments that, in my opinion, belong to a global project, including the Tomb of the Birds, for example, the pyramids beneath the Sphinx, and also the ridge where actually is the mastaba of the Queen Christ. So putting together all the pieces of the global project and connecting all those monuments with the celestial vault, the only moment when all the elements on the ground are connected with the celestial bodies is only in 36,400 before Christ at the vernal equinox. So actually the software performed in very accurate, just until 4,000 before Christ. Maybe in the future, software of astronomy simulation could maybe will be improved, and then we may be more accurate in dating the pyramids and all the disciplines.
Right here, we've got this job.
Yeah, Frank Rogala, Mortals of Earth. Armando's made quite a case for the extreme antiquity of the structures. This is just kind of a two-part thing. Number one, does it bother you to call the project after the name of a fourth dynasty kingdom pharaoh that it looks like you're right, it had little to do with the pyramid with his name on it? Number two, like the historical water levels of the Giza Plateau before, the dam was there. And we're talking about deep antiquity going back 38,000 years or so. To maybe suggest that there was perhaps two uses, like ancient times, it was perhaps a machine, because we know in current day we've measured plasma bubbles over Giza Plateau. I'm aware of 2 times that it's been measured over it. It's as if they were generating it from some type of a resonant force. And then maybe in dynastic times, they were later used for the resonant properties for other maybe spiritual reasons or different purposes than they originally were intended for.
Hai ragione che non erano, perché in più ha detto hanno misurato qualche tipo di energia, frequenza che esce da sopra. E cosa ne pensi di questo? Se pensa che sia stato qualcosa energetico, qualcosa spirituale, qualcosa del genere?
Yes, on the pyramids of the Great Pyramid, actually, in the past were made several experimentation connecting the pyramids with the energies. For example, I remember an experiment of Tom Downey, an engineer of the NASA, that was studying the frequencies inside King's chambers, and he noted that the chambers resonate with the frequency of 16 hertz. It means that pyramids maybe are connected with the frequencies and the energies. Moreover, it's possible that megastructures that we are detecting in the underground of Giza could have a possible connection with the energies. So, particularly, I believe that spirals around the shafts could be not staircase man. My personal opinion, of course, but we need, of course, to explore the shaft, but maybe the spheres are made of some kind of metal. So it's possible that all the structures that are connected along them, from the Sphinx to the big power pyramid and other, all connected. So it's possible that it was a possible power plant to generate energy. But it's just only my opinion. We need to improve this kind of study. That is possible only making explore if we can explore the underground of beneath the pyramids.
Seems to me you should be able to explore. If they say nothing's down there, what's invasive about drilling?
Truly.
Yeah. But next, excuse my, this gentleman here in the green hat. Yeah.
Filippo, I'm curious, when you're looking at the surface waves on the top, have you run into any issues regarding wind or trucks causing vibrations that interfere with natural frequencies that are propagating?
Yes. Yes, those kind of anomalies, let's call in terms of are contributing to generate the so-called noise. Any measurement is affected by noise, so that's important to say this. I tell you that we have a huge plateau of measurements because we are studying the Giza Plateau now. There are some years that we are working on this project. A lot of times we spend time, so computational time, to process a tomograph, let's say, and then because it's too much affected by noise, we throw it away. It is has a sense your question because in our personal opinion, the wind, I don't know, heavy wind can absolutely affect the quality of the result. Absolutely, yes.
Nikki,
Okay, how long would this take you to do every pyramid in the world? Like, how expensive, how time consuming is it for you to just scan all of the known pyramids?
Yes.
Or important sites, like Saxon or Mount Nefer, whatever.
A lot of people contacted us in order to perform work on a lot of sites scattered around the world. The answer is yes. In order to perform everything in the world is only a computational effort. So, absolutely yes. I'm feeling to tell you if they perform us donations, we can buy a computer. Buying a computer, we gain the power to study other archaeological sites. It's a computational effort.
What were the server costs for this project?
good question.
Yes, according to a donation that I have received 2 years ago, a physical donation, a computer, a powerful computer, I don't remember the specification, but was around 44 cores. We managed to use that computer, so we arrived here with that computer. So in 2 years. And that's an example only to explain that 2 years we scanned the Giza Plateau. We are still working on the Giza Plateau using that computer. If we have a cascade of other computers, we can or scan other sites or compressing the time in order to arrive to a final result in Giza.
Scusate, che adesso fate tutto possibile e farete GGB.
Yes, in the future we are working also in translate the kernel that we are currently using on CPU to move it on GPU. Absolutely, yes. We probably will use CUDA, which is an NVIDIA proprietary language of programming in order to try and send the computational packets into the GPU. Maybe we other time using this.
Any other questions?
Hello, my name is David Stig Hansen. Call me Stig. I lived in Taiwan in 2001, and I worked at a fiber optic manufacturing factory. And they would draw fiber from freeform glass. They needed a platform to be stable. If there's an earthquake, the fiber would be destroyed. I was lucky enough to stand on that platform when there was an earthquake, and the whole world did this around me. But what did you think about that theory of stabilization of the machine, the pyramid? Thank you. What do you think about the idea that those coils could be springs supporting and equalizing?
Quelle springs che qui è size
Andare in un'azienda di fibra ottica e che un giorno che c'è stato un gruppo che ha avuto è stato lì ha detto cosa pensi che se queste cose che avete trovato sotto la piramide erano qualche tipo di non so, qualcosa del genere.
At the moment, in my personal opinion, mine, I can't say anything about the purpose of these pillars that we found. At the moment, we are analyzing the results. We, as I showed you today, we found regular patterns, these pillars that are going underneath. So, in my personal opinion, all the Giza plateau is connected. So we can't watch the pyramids like something separated to another pyramid, no? Or the facilities separated. No. In my personal opinion, we have to consider all the Giza plateau like connected. And always according to my personal opinion, can be more than one purpose concerning the Giza plateau. So, but I can't say anything else because I don't know.
Thank you. Okay, let's take 2 more.
Sorry, I just
Okay.
to add, in my personal opinion, an important element that is connected to the correlation between the Khafre pyramid and the number 137, that is the basic number for physics. And it is still unknown its complete meaning. We know that it is connected with quantum physics, but many physicists like Max Weber, for example, Nobel Prize for Physics, or Pauli, and more studied the number in the effort to find the real meaning of the 137. If this number is correlated with the Khafre pyramid, it means something, or it means that something is a code suggesting a possible function of the entire Giza plateau. For these reasons, I believe that after the scan of when the mapping of the Giza plateau is finished, the second step is to try to explore the Giza plateau, but at the same time to try to understand what is why the connection between the pyramids and the mysterious planet. So it's possible. That is why I'm a little bit sure that there is a connection between the pyramids and the age.
Yeah, go ahead, Troy. I want to ask you a question.
I was excited to hear that you just said you are now talking to Dr. Zebker, Professor Zebker at Stanford. I know I've been very interested in looking into who could reproduce the findings of your team from an objective standpoint so that people could no longer question if it's, you guys just making this up or inventing it. I think that seeing a secondary team actually do the process and process the information in the way that you have would give we really have to end the debate as to whether or not it was made up in some way. I mean, they would have to say you made it completely up if they're saying it's not real. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about what exactly he was going to do, because I know that he is one of the very respected SAR experts that would be capable of actually really validating this in a big way. And I know a lot of people were interested in seeing a secondary team do this. So I wonder if you can talk a little bit more about what exactly he's going to be doing. Is he going to be using the protocol, the Beyond protocol, we call it? that you came up with, or what exactly part of the process is he going to be reproducing, or how's he going to be involved?
Yes, thank you for this question. It is obvious that the work is beginning from zero. So I think the first thing that this second research group will be is to perform a preliminary study that has to be theoretical. Okay. Then, after you perform the theoretical preliminary study, you have to move into some experiments. I suggest this second research group to begin to start my street. So you have to start in examining facilities where you are sure to have some results. So I suggest to explore, first of all, infrastructure, let's say infrastructures like bridges. Bridges are very, they vibrate a lot, let's say like that. So it is possible to retrieve the information very quickly and then move into other things that it is more difficult to extrapolate the vibrations. And in the last, to scan again the gigaproton. So in order to reproduce the experiments. But in the last,
I'm still trying to wrap my head around what the bottleneck is for continuing this. You mentioned it was compute costs and maybe data storage, and companies like Amazon and Google have spent the last 30 years making that more and more affordable. And I'm just wondering, to spin up an NVIDIA CUDA cloud and do data storage and compute on it, it doesn't sound that expensive. And so, but I don't know your data size, and I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on that, and will you release, if you do a calculation on the estimated costs for data storage and compute, I think that would be great to see, because that would help fundraise to get those compute costs paid for.
I tell you, our research group is composed by individuals. We do not have a university behind that give us powerful speed up our research. So in my life, I do another thing. I work on this project when I have in a philanthropic way, let's say. When I have free time, I work on this project. So we are using efforts that are ours. So these are the principal motivation because the work is slowing down, because we are doing everything, let's say, without money. No. Maybe other research groups or another research group that is fully academic accredited, let's say, like the what do you call it? Scam pyramid, which I absolutely give the maximum respect to this research group, but they have a lot of university behind, so they have a lot of money to spend in order to make the experiments. The principal motivation, the principal thing that because we are our results, they are not so fast because we work without money.
If you tell us how much it costs, we can probably help with that.
We will exchange our contacts and we can do some philanthropic activities in order to.
That'd be a pretty good final answer right there.
Yeah.
But
thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. And we're gonna have, Michael here has breaking news tonight as well, you know, the US premiere of having discovered Atlantis. And we'll have a Q&A there, so I don't know if it'll be this formal, but just if you're curious and came to this, you may want to also ask Michael some questions this evening. We'll try to prioritize the people that came to this, okay? Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Randall.
I will mention one thing is that in our project, which is separate from this, we use a huge variety of technologies, everything available essentially. But the foundation of how we begin our discovery process isn't a million miles different from how these gentlemen are doing their work. So we start with satellite scans, locate something, then we go on location. So.
Awesome. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Doctor, do you believe acoustic resonance could serve not just as a measurement tool, but as a form of intelligent activations of ancient architecture?
You want to say it again?
Do you believe acoustic resonance